signs down here.
I'm just trying to figure out how a water sign ended up in the middle of the desert.
That's exactly what I asked myself. But you know what? Of all the things I lived on both coasts. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I've lived a lot of different places. I've lived in Nashville. I loved it down there. I lived in Southern California for the longest time. But I fell in love with Phoenix, Arizona. You know, the desert. There's something, I know I'm a water sign as a Pisces, but there's something about that open desert that just, I don't know what it is, it's just good on my soul.
It's phenomenal.
But Florida, there is never, every time I'm down here, I just get this, it's a great feeling, you know what I mean? I love it, and I like the people here, you know what I mean? But you go to the beaches and stuff down here, and I always have a good time.
Oh, I've spent most of my life on these beaches, so I can appreciate that.
You're here.
Okay, I just wanted to start with going into Poison, basically.
Right.
We want to find out what immediately, when they got together, when you all formed as a band, did you immediately click? Were there any tensions?
When you know, here's how it started. Ricky and I had been in a band together prior to Poison, and we had played and been through a couple different member changes. You know, people always talk about in the early days of their career. I'm going to give you a secret no one wants to talk about. You ready? Controversy right here.
Go right ahead.
In the early stages of your, let's say, budding career, when you're a garage band, or in Pennsylvania, you're a basement band. You play in the basement in the winter because it's cold and run. And when you're down there jamming, you know what ruins your bands? It's not money. It's not women. It's not drugs. You know what ruins it? Is not having enough money to put gas in your car to get to rehearsals so they find another singer. That's what, you're going, because people always talk about these controversies. I said, my biggest controversy was getting off work in time in order to put my gear in my car in the snow and have enough gas money to get to rehearsal so they didn't fire me, right?
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's how it worked. And so with us, Ricky and I have all the different changes, we click. And then all of a sudden we got to meet Bobby. Right? And then Bobby and I, completely different personalities. Ricky and I, completely different personalities. But we all had one thing in common. We were driven and we wanted to make it. We were willing to give up any form of what we'll call luxury, any form. We knew we were going to go be starving musicians, right? We were willing to give all that up. We had a different guitar player at the time. We went to California. Our guitar player, his girlfriend got pregnant. But he did the right thing. He went home and took care of his girlfriend. He went home and they got married. He did the right thing. And the three of us were out there and we met Cece. We auditioned different guitar players. Slash was one of them who played great. And our controversy started right then. Cece had come into the band and he, and Ricky and Bobby loved Cece and I love Slash. So the controversy, the argument was already between Bobby and Ricky and myself. But I was outvoted. But I thought Slash was an amazing guitar player, and Cece's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
No, let me say this right. And that's how it started. But I didn't. The confusion. Let me go on record. The confusion was that I didn't dislike Cece. I just had a bad run-in with him one night at a place, and then when we jammed, I just was, I was kind of one of those guys that, I was like, what if we had like an Aerosmith setup? You talk in terms of 5 or 4. And I said, what if we have an Aerosmith setup and Slash wanted another guitar player? That's how simple it was. And Cece's like, so I got outvoted, and it was for the best. But no, and I love, let me go on record, I love Cece. We had a great time. I want to make sure I clear the air before we fight tonight on the stage. But he's an unbelievably great guitar player, so was Slash. It just, but that's where the controversy started. But it was an organic controversy. It was nothing forced or press made. It was just, and Cece and Bobby and Ricky and myself, all 4 of us have completely different personalities, but we all are driven to make good music and rock and have this amazing amount of energy.
Absolutely. So, and it still shows this many years later.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. Now, but there is one thing. After performing for over 25 years now at this point, even Madonna, and I don't mean to compare you to Madonna, but
Madonna had a great and very successful
You're
career.
There with that megastar status at this point, and after this many years singing the same songs, adding some new ones, obviously, as you go, but you've got those mainstays that you have to almost perform for the crowd, for your fans. Is there anyone, if you were given the choice, that you would not ever sing again?
It's funny you ask that, and I'm going to tell you now a very controversial answer I've never really talked about. All of the songs that we do, we write them ourselves, so they feel like they're your baby.
Correct.
Right. So you're like, all of them are your kids. And, you know, some are a little wilder than others, some are calm, some are, but there's no song that I completely dislike. I love, let me say this, Every Rose Has Thorn, I love playing it. Something to Believe In, I love playing it. All the songs, Nothing But a Good Time, Talk Dirty, all of them. The one song that's not my favorite song to do, and I don't know why, but I say this over and over again, I don't hate it, but if I Want Action was out of the set, I wouldn't complain. That's my 2 cents. Throwing it out there. I think it's a good song, but it's not my favorite song to play.
Okay,
but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I do it, and I do it with energy. But that's probably my one song. The band openly knows it, you know, and you know, we've had a fist fight or two over it. It's great. You know what I mean? It makes for good TV.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, if you could go back to 1986,
yes.
Don't know that we'd ever want to do that, but
yes, no, let's go back. I'm ready.
If we could go back, and you could rewrite "Talk Dirty to Me,"
yes.
What would you change about it?
It's tough to say because I think Talk Dirty to Me is a great song. I think that it's catchy. I think it's energetic. And when we were in the studio, a producer tried to come in and make it a real slow song. And this is how much Poison was fighters. We had this producer on our first record that I hated. Man, this guy was a jerk. And I'm just saying, I can openly say it, you know. And at first I went in there to try to be a good guy and with him, but he just was in our face, and we ended up finishing the record with the engineer. That's a true story. Our first record we ever did, we had no money, no nothing, and this engineer or this producer wanted to push us into doing all this stuff. And Poison, the one great thing about Poison, it shines through. We are really, in some strange way, never loved by the critics, but are truly artists. We believed in the music and in the songs we were making. They tried to slow Talk Dirty to Me down to go like, ba da 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 da. He made it this. I'm like, no, we're not doing it like that. We're doing it the way we wrote it.